What is going on, YouTube? Joe here with Culination Media, and welcome back for another live Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle against a subscriber/follower on Twitter. Today, we are going up against Kim in a Ubers match, and we're bringing the same team as last time. I guess I should probably go over that, but I'm picking my music. We're going to go with Music 15, because why not? Now, as for the team, we have our Choice Scarf, Kyogre. We have our physically defensive Yveltal, which came in clutch last time. That was crazy. If you didn't watch that battle, you need to go watch it. It was very, very interesting, especially at the end. Then we have our specially defensive Tentacruel with the Rapid Spin support and Toxic Spikes, of course. Physically defensive Ferroseed, which actually walls things like Zekrom, and that's basically why it's there. And it actually functions pretty well in the rain as well, because I think if things like Ho-Oh are not banded, I might be able to take a Sacred Fire. I'm not really sure on that, but yeah, it actually does take hits surprisingly well. Then we have Mega Mewtwo X, which did not see any action last time. It was just used as fodder to weaken something that we were toxic stalling, basically. It is a bulk up set. It also has Taunt, so it prevents things like Recovery and Will-O-Wisp. So hopefully it sees some action here. And then we have the Choice Banded Zekrom, which just kills everything, basically. That's just how it works. You just come in and you either click Outrage, or you click Bolt Strike, or you click Volt Switch if you don't have a good matchup. And yeah, it just kills things. It's so powerful. So looking at my opponent's team here, very cool team. Cool to see Greninja again in a match. That's probably going to be Mega Lucario. Lugia is super bulky. It has that multi-scale, so that could be an issue. Either the Greninja or the Darkrai is probably going to be Focus Sash, so we have to watch out for that. This team is very hampered by rocks, actually. Defog on Lugia is actually illegal with multi-scale, so it probably doesn't have that, which means that I don't think my opponent has any way to get rid of hazards. So we want to make sure that we get them up somewhat early on in the match, because that'll be very, very helpful against things like Ho-Oh, which are 4 times weak to it. So that's the game plan here. That's just the basic analysis that I'm going with, just from Team Preview there. So as we're getting started today, of course, I want to thank you guys for all of the support, all of the likes and comments and suggestions and all those things that you guys have been leaving lately. You guys are awesome. And for those of you that are asking for battles and when I do take battles, I'm trying to say this in every video now, because I do get so many questions about it. I always take my battles over Twitter, so feel free to just follow me on there or check out the link in the description, whatever you want to do. I usually ask once a week or so, so that is that. So let's get into the battle here. We have our Lugia matched up against, or not our Lugia, my opponent's Lugia matched up with our Kyogre. And I don't know if that's a great matchup, because this thing could just T-Wave me. And because this is a Scarf set, I really don't want to get T-Wave. That kind of destroys my entire niche here. So I'm kind of tempted to go right out into Zekrom, predicting that T-Wave. I also don't want to get Toxicked. But this could be a good opportunity to go out into Barbara, because the rain is up, and Lugia can't really do much to me. He can T-Wave, but Toxic does nothing. Aeroblast isn't going to be doing too much damage, and we should be able to set up our hazards here, so that's great. Oh, he actually goes for the Dragon Tail, so that does absolutely nothing. That did 6. That did 6 HP. What? I know that's not stab, but I don't even care. That's just stupid. So the Lugia is going to take the Iron Barbs damage, which is great, because every little bit counts. It does show the lefties, and we get Dragon Tailed out into Tentacruel. I could Scald this thing to try to get a burn going on it, because any type of status is good status on Lugia. I guess T-Wave isn't the best, but Burn and Poison are definitely good. I could also take this opportunity to set up Toxic Spikes, but I am just going to go for the rain-boosted Scald here, as it does show the T-Wave. That's a little bit unfortunate, just because Squidzy here has a little bit of speed behind it, but it's a defensive variant, so it's not the end of the world. We do not get the burn, and that really did not do much at all. Maybe I should go for the Toxic Spikes. It might be a better play, but while the rain is up, I want to try to really get a burn on this thing, as the Lugia shows the Aeroblast, which does have a high critical hit ratio, so that could be something that could come into play, but that really did nothing. That did absolutely nothing. We still don't get a burn, which is unfortunate, but with the Rain Dish and our lefties, We are going to get back up to almost full HP, which is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, this Lugia can't really do anything, and it may actually want to switch here, because I think we've seen just about all of its moves. Its last move has to be Roost, I would assume, if it's a defensive Lugia. So still no burn after 3 Scalds. We have this thing down below half, and it is going to Dragon Tail us out. That was really only the other play it could make. And it's going to drag us out into Mewtwo, which I don't know how I feel about that. I do have Rock Slide for things like Ho-Oh and Lugia, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to need a bulk up before I can Rock Slide this thing, and if I taunt it, which would prevent the T-Wave and the Roost, he could still Dragon Tail me out, and he could also just Aeroblast me, which would be super effective after Mega Evolving. I don't know if I really like that. I kind of want to save Mewtwo for later on. A decent switch could be Zekrom here, but if we get Dragon Tailed, that could also be an issue. I kind of want to just go right back into Barbara, because that's pretty much a safe switch. It can't really do anything. Like, Aeroblast is not going to even 2-hit KO me. It might not even 3-hit KO me. So we actually see the withdrawal here. So depending on what comes out, because I think the rain is going to end this turn, we might not be able to get up hazards. It's actually Greninja, and yeah, the rain is going to stop. Now, I could just T-Wave this thing. The thing that kind of scares me about that is it could be a Spikes Greninja, because that's actually pretty darn common in Ubers. That's usually what it's used for, if anything. The Spikes and Toxic Spikes shenanigans. So I really don't want to waste the turn, but I feel like it's going to attack me. So I kind of want to take the risk of just going for the T-Wave here. I think, yeah, I'm going to take the risk. And he does go for the Scald, or she does, I should say, because that's a female Greninja. If it gets the burn, it's not the end of the world. And no burn. What is it with all of these Scalds being fired off and no one is getting a burn? That's like the 4th or 5th Scald of this match. So now Greninja is completely neutered. If we're able to get up rocks, we can break any potential sashes as well. So I'm thinking that's what I want to do here. Yeah, because there's definitely no way that my opponent is going to be able to get rid of them. So we see the Scald again. It's just fishing for a burn at this point, and it still doesn't get it. That's ridiculous. But having these rocks up, like I said, is going to be so helpful throughout this match. And I could even try to set up some spikes here if I wanted to. That could pressure the Lucario a little bit more. And even the Greninja if it wants to switch out and come back in. But I'm kind of tempted to just go into Squidzy here and start setting up some Toxic Spikes, potentially. Or we can just Scald for damage, honestly. I don't really need Tentacruel for anything. It doesn't really do a whole lot against my opponent's team, to be completely honest. So, unfortunately, the Greninja is going to be fully parried. And there's not much I can do about that. Kind of stinks. But I don't think that Special Greninja can really do too much to specially defensive Tentacruel anyway. And I'm just going to go for Scald here for damage. In case this thing wants to stay in, I would prefer that it does definitely have its sash broken, so that I can kill it with something else. And unfortunately, fully paralyzed again. I don't know what this thing would want to be going for. Like, maybe it's trying to U-turn out. I don't know. Dark Pulse, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she's just sacking this Pokemon because it is paralyzed. Fully paralyzed for a 3rd time in a row. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry about that. That's like my luck right there. Granted, this Greninja can't do much, and I'm just Scalding at this point, but still. And the reason I'm Scalding, I actually decided against the Toxic Spikes, is because you've got Lugia, Shaman, and Hoa, which are immune to Toxic Spikes, and Lucario, which is on the ground, which is also immune to Toxic Spikes. And this thing is paralyzed. So that's 5 Pokemon that Toxic Spikes does nothing to. So there's really no reason for me to set it up whatsoever. I can just continue to Scald here. And yeah, I don't need Tentacruel for anything. So if my opponent gets a crit and just kills me, it's not the end of the world. I can revenge kill this thing with pretty much anything that I want. And, do I want to make a switch here? Or do I want to just try to kill this thing? Let's see. I mean, I could go into Barbara again and try to set up spikes, I guess, but it would really only be useful for that Lucario, I guess. And the Darkrai, I suppose. And, yeah, the extra sensory is going to connect there. So that really stinks. This thing has extra sensory, which means it could have killed us a long time ago, but the full paralysis just prevented it from doing so. That kind of stinks. Feel kind of bad about that, honestly. That's usually my luck right there. So finally, because we get fully paralyzed and a meaningless crit there, the Greninja is going to be able to take out Tentacruel, and that's fine because, yeah, like I said, I'm just not really worried about it at all. I can go back into Kyogre here if I want to get the rain up again, and I can start firing off some powerful water type moves. Or, I mean, I can really go into anything I wanted here too. I could go into Zekrom and go for a Volt Switch because my opponent has nothing that would be immune to that. In fact, a lot of the things that she would want to switch into actually take a pretty decent amount from it. I could also go into Mewtwo to get my Mega Evolution off. And I think my best play is probably to just go into the Zekrom here. So that's what I'm going to do. Because she really has no switches into this. So if for whatever reason she's going to try to save this thing, which I highly doubt, I'll be able to hit something else hard or at least get momentum. So that is the plan. This will allow her a safe switch into something potentially scary like Darkrai. Because if it's a Dark Void set, that could be kind of troublesome. I don't know what I have for that, honestly. Yeah, actually, Shaman could be a bit of a problem, too. I'm probably going to have to hit it with a Choice Scarf Ice Beam from Kyogre. And I'm going to just double-check Darkrai's speed tier here. It's 125, so that means Mewtwo actually outspeeds it, so I can kill it with the Drain Punch if I can get in safely on it. So I may have to sack something against the Darkrai. That could be a possibility. So I will go into Kyogre here. We get up the rain, and we don't have to lock ourselves into a choice move yet. So we can lock ourselves into a move depending on what she goes out into. I'm really hoping it's the Shaman, because that thing could be an issue as well. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty frail, but it's fast, and it hits very, very hard with Seed Flare. And she does go out into the Shaman. It does take 25% due to the rocks. And we can just fire off an Ice Beam here. It's 4 times super effective. I doubt that this thing is running Scarf because it's pretty fast just on its own. Usually they run Life Orb. So I'm assuming that's what this is going to be. So, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if it was Focus Sash or something along those lines, it's not going to matter because Rocks breaks that. So Ice Beam is actually going to take this thing out. I don't think she was expecting me to be Scarf there, otherwise she definitely would not have gone right into that. I'm guessing she was thinking that I was Specs. I guess? Specs or like Lefties or something. Or even the Damp Rock, maybe? Although Damp Rock Kyogre is really not that common at all. But anyway, we get rid of a huge threat, which is great, and Lucario is going to come out here, and I pretty much have to go out into Yveltal, I think. Do I really need Barber for anything? I mean, maybe I could just go out into it to get some Iron Barbs damage, possibly a T-Wave, depending on what it wants to do. Although, it definitely has priority, every Lucario does. If it's physical, it's got Bullet Punch and Extreme Speed, which is dangerous. And if it's special, it's got the Vacuum Wave. So we'll have to see here, as it is going to Mega Evolve. Hopefully, it just tries to attack me, doesn't go for a setup move. As, yeah, we just see the close combat. That might kill me. Yeah, that is going to kill me, even though I'm physically defensive, because that's a Mega Lucario with adaptability. Stab, close combat. There's no way that Barbara's going to take that. We do get off some chip damage via the Iron Barbs, which is lovely. And now we can go into, let's see, I could go into Kyogre again, because a Bullet Punch is not going to be doing much, and Extreme Speed won't take me out of a range where Water Spout won't kill. So I really have no reason to not go for it here. So yeah, there's the Extreme Speed. That's going to do a decent chunk, because I am offensive. Yeah, that does like 30%. But this Water Spout in the rain is still just going to kill this thing, which is fantastic because this was another very huge threat to my team. So getting rid of that before it could set up at all is just amazing. So we'll see what she wants to go into here. Typhoon, what is that? Oh yeah, that's the Lugia. I don't think... Can I kill that from there? Lugia is stupidly bulky. That's the only reason that I'm even thinking that I might not be able to kill it. I guess it depends on whether it's especially defensive or not. In the rain, though, Water Spout does so much to everything. I'm so tempted to just stay in and try to kill it. But if I fail, I get T-waved, and that's not good, and it's not worth it, because if Mewtwo dies, what am I going to do about Darkrai? I really have nothing. So I am going to go into Zekrom here. I'm not going to risk it. Even though it's probably more likely that this thing is physically defensive, I'm not going to risk it at all. We're going into Zekrom, because this still puts a lot of pressure on my opponent's team, and actually goes for the Roost, which is fine, because Bolt Strike still just OHKOs. Yeah, it's not going to be able to get back up to its multi-scale, even with the lefties. So we can just fire off a Bolt Strike. My opponent has nothing that is immune to that, so something dies here, basically. Getting Zekrom in for free means something dies. So, thankfully we don't miss. And, oh my gosh, that animation. That animation is so amazing. I love that. I never get tired of watching that. So Lugia just goes down, despite being able to roost up. So we're down to Ho-Oh and Darkrai. Darkrai is going to come out here. And I'm guessing that she thinks that I'm banded at this point, because Kyogre was obviously Choice Scarf. So this thing is going to be able to put something to sleep. What do I want put to sleep? I don't really know. Probably Yveltal, to be completely honest. Because even though it does take on Ho-Oh pretty well, that's probably the least important thing on my team at the moment. So we'll go right into Yveltal here. And, oh, it doesn't actually go for the Dark Void, it goes for the Dark Pulse, which still does a pretty decent chunk because I am physically defensive. This is Lefty's Darkrai, actually. Okay, maybe this is a sub-variant. That is possible. Sub-Darkrai? Sub-Nasty Plot, maybe? With Dark Void and, like, mono-attacking Dark Pulse? That could be a thing. I kind of want to taunt this thing to prevent it from... Oh, no, it has Sludge Bomb. Okay, so that's definitely for Fairy types that resist your Dark-type coverage. So I don't know what the lefties are for. Yeah, not really sure, but we are going to taunt this thing, just because I do not want it to be able to set up a Nasty Plot if it has that. I don't want it setting up a sub if it has that. Basically, all of its non-attacking moves are extremely dangerous. So I'd rather just taunt it, and if it means that I have to sacrifice Yveltal to do that, it's kind of worth it. So, unfortunately, she did get the poison on that Sludge Bomb, so we're going to get worn down a lot faster. But I am going to go for the Foul Play, because Darkrai's defenses are pretty bad. So Sludge Bomb still does a decent chunk. It's going to be able to take us out next turn, but we're going to get Foul Play plus Sucker Punch off. Actually, that did not do as much as I wanted it to. But every little bit of chip damage counts. I mean, we're going to be able to go out into Mewtwo, like 100%, and just kill this thing with a Drain Punch. Mewtwo should be able to clean up the match, to be honest, because we can Drain Punch the Darkrai, which we outspeed by 5 base points. And I am running Jolly, so nothing to worry about there. And Ho-Oh is last, and I do carry the Rock Slide specifically for Ho-Oh and Lugia. So we'll get the Sucker Punch damage off there, which brings this thing down to about half. And the Sludge Bomb is going to take Yveltal out. So it definitely didn't play as big of a role this time as it did in the last match. But that, you know, can't be the star of every battle, I guess. So at least we'll get to see some Mewtwo action, which I'm pretty excited about, because I really thought that this was going to put in a lot of work, and it had to do nothing last time. Like, we just used it as fodder because Xerneas is such a problem. It really, really is. That's the one thing I don't like about Ubers, is everyone just uses the Geomancy Xerneas set. It's so over-centralizing to that meta. It's ridiculous. Like, every single team has to have a check for it, or you just lose. Like, you won't get anywhere on the ladder, because you'll just run into it constantly. But, I mean, I guess that's what happens when it's a powerful Pokemon. It's like that in every tier. Every tier has powerful Pokemon and threats that you see all over the place, so I don't know what I'm talking about. We're just going to Drain Punch the Darkrai, get rid of it, and we're down to just Ho-Oh. This match should be in the bag here. It just really depends on what this set is. Moonbow. That's a really cool nickname for a Ho-Oh. I like it. So, yeah, it's going to take 50%. And If you hear squeaky noises and meowing in the background, that's my cat. Of course, because we can't even go one recording without my cat making an appearance. So it turns out this thing is not Choice Scarf. We can just Rock Slide it, and Ho-Oh goes down, and that is going to be it for this battle. So it ends up being a 3-0 in our favor. Thank you very much for the match, Kim. Of course, if you see her down in the comment section, make sure to give her a GG and all of that fun stuff. So we got one more battle with this team. I'm hoping that... Who hasn't seen a lot of action? Actually, Zekrom hasn't. Kind of hoping that Zekrom puts in a lot of work in our last battle with this team. But that is going to be it for this time. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure you're leaving a like rating or a comment or whatever you would like to do, of course. And I will see you all next time. But until then, game on.